fun. Let's have a look here at how to create a decoupled Drupal website from the LocalGov Drupal distribution. A number of councils have talked about this for maybe decoupling just their news section or just their event section, or may allow maybe all of their web content to be administered via their LocalGov Drupal based website, and then decoupling different sections of it. So you might have an amenity like I don't know, maybe Trafalgar Square or whatever might have its own website based in the Westminster Council, and that might decouple just that section of it. The general way I would approach doing something like that would be that we would create a taxonomy term or vocabulary, we'll call it actually, and we place that on all the content types, and then individual terms that go into that vocabulary would then be used to filter out what goes onto the actual microsite. So today let's have a quick look at, I'm going to decouple the news section from here. So just here on my own localgov.dev.mark.ie, we've got a news page here, and this news page lists the latest news. There's only, I think, 4 of them on the actual website. So there's 3 featured ones here, and then 1 down here that's not in the featured section. So to allow us to create a decoupled website, it's very simple. I click on Extend and JSON API. JSON API. And I switched on to JSON API module. Now you'll also need the serialization module, but that was already turned on. I'm not sure if I turned it on before or if that's on because of something else. Actually, yeah, it's on because of LocalGov demo content module here. So you'll need those 2 modules, JSON API and serialization. When you do that, you can come to your URL /JSON API. Now it suggests that you would hide this. You put it at something like that /JSON API. That someone isn't going to be able to guess it and DDoS your website. And then in your services.yaml file, I think it is, you set what this equates to, and make sure it's not part of your Git repo. So once you do that, and we come to JSON API, then we can see a JSON output of all of the items we have available to us. So in this, for example, where have I gone now? Here, let's collapse these again. So in links, so these are all the different JSON properties, JSON API properties that we have here. So what we be looking for is the news property. So you can see here's all the different node types with the directories page, directories, venues, directories, events, all that kind of stuff. We are looking for LocalGov news article, and we can see then here that will be found at JSON API /node /LocalGov news article. Now what this does is this gives us a listing of every news article on the website. So we can see here in our data we've got 0, 1, 2, 3. So that's the 4 items we have in our news posts, which equate to the 4 items we saw here, the 3 that I set as featured and the 1 that's not featured. For the news article, oh yes, it's the same tab. Okay, so if we click open 0 and we look at the attributes, then we can see that this is the title for this one this is a news post number 1, and the same with the other ones. We can open up these attributes here. This is a news post, a really important one. We can check down here to see where it's the body field, and the body has a value of this. So your content editors can use their WYSIWYG, and that would allow them to add bold or add lists or whatever WYSIWYG styles you might have. I think in LocalGov Drupal we've got styles for call outs and alerts and things like that, and they're part of the WYSIWYG, so that can be used there. And then we've got our pat and our pat alias here /news/2021. So we're going to use this to create our pass for ourselves. And is there anything else? There's nothing else I'm going to worry about here, just for in terms of a proof of concept. But we could add in things like this meta tag here. Could have lots of schema.org meta tag information for us that we could add into the page. But this is as much as we're going to need for creating our website. That's all we've got to do on the Drupal part. Enable the module, and then go grab the data. So let's see over here. I'm going to just run this. So this NDR, this is just my own version of npm run start when I'm working on a what's this, on a remote server instead of on my my local version here. So while that's running, I'm going to have a quick look here at some of the files that we've got. So we've got in package.json. Everything is pretty much what you'd expect from, say, a Gatsby site. So there's kind of default enough stuff. We've got this .env package here just to allow us to have env files for local and for development and things like that. So that's these files here. I won't bother opening up those exactly to show you what's in them, but I've got a template one here. So what we do is we create a variable called Gatsby source Drupal. We say where you're going to find that. And then I've got another variable for a Roxel host. Roxel is our remote development server in Nanortech that we built ourselves to allow us to work on servers rather than working locally. So the where you're going to find that then will be at whatever address it is. It's not it's not this address. Let's see. So then we've got well, I suppose back to package.json. There's the only one that we need to discuss here, or not discuss, note is that there's the Gatsby source Drupal. So this is the package that we're going to use to get data out of Drupal and into Gatsby. All these ones here, these ESLint config stuff, these are all just mostly what's the styling items that will auto format my code for me. We actually follow Westboss coding standards just because we think we like his videos. We've signed up to a team license, so every person in Nanortech can attend every Westboss course that they want to. And the Westboss is actually his coding standards that he has set here are pretty much the same as Airbnb, except some small little overrides with them. So we just follow along with those. After that, there's this GitHub pages that I can automatically deploy my website to GitHub pages on my own personal website, mark.ie. That runs at, I think it's 3 o'clock in the morning every night. And if there's any updates, it updates, and if there's not, it doesn't. And then we've got your usual scripts. So the one you saw me running a minute ago, NDR, was this develop Roxel, which is just it runs Gatsby develop, except it uses my Roxel host instead of localhost. That's it, I think, from package.json really. So after that, then we've got a Gatsby node. So this one here is where things happen. So this is what it's kind of like hook pre-process node type of a thing in Drupal languages. So Gatsby node here is the stuff that happens before Gatsby outputs. It does all this creation of stuff. It takes the data in and it creates pages for us at a node level. So a node, I mean here is in a Gatsby node, not a Drupal node. So what we've got in this is that in here we're going to use the create pages API. So this will create a page for us from whatever we tell it to. We said you're going to find a template called news template, and that's going to be in source template /news.js. So this is the same as our node --news --full.html.twig in Drupal. It's our news template in full view mode, let's call it. It runs a GraphQL query for all the news posts across the website. Now this is me creating an alias for all node LocalGov news article. I like these little aliases because to make things just a bit shorter. So what it actually runs is it goes through all node LocalGov news article. That's the LocalGov news article content type. And then for each of those, it pulls out the internal Drupal node ID, so node 1 or node 2, and then the path alias. Then we've created this const here. So we said I'm going to call this microsite news posts will be whatever the result we get from here. So whatever comes out of this. .data, all news posts, .edges, so it goes down as far as this bit here. So again, this is just handy shorthand for us. Then we say then for each of these microsite news posts, so for each of these here, we're going to create a news item. I'm calling this node news, and this is what uses the create page API from the create pages API. And the path that we're going to have for this will be node news.node.path.alias. So that's what we saw back here in the JSON API call here. So this is going to look for the node news, which we've called ourselves, .node.path.alias. So that's this one here. So and then we pass in the ID. This ID is passed in here. Well, this is what we call ID, and this will look for the node Drupal internal ID. This has to be a unique parameter. So it could be something like the URL would be unique, or the Drupal UUID would be unique. I like the Drupal node ID because I think it makes a lot of sense to Drupal people. And what this does then is when it's finished running this query, and then it goes to create a page for each of these, it comes to this templates directory here, and news.js, so that's what we saw over here. In news.js, it then does a second search for node LocalGov news articles. So this is not all LocalGov news articles. This looks for just one, and it looks for one that the Drupal internal node ID matches the ID that we passed in a moment ago from context. That's this ID here. So that's ID here will be equal to Drupal internal node ID, and then we say find us the LocalGov news article that has a Drupal internal ID that equals the ID here that we passed in from the context here. And when it does that, give us back the ID and the title. Now let's have a quick look at the GraphQL to just see what that looks like. So let's kill this for a second. Okay. So you can see here now, this is all the different items that GraphQL has found for us in the JSON API, and there's lots of them. All the different paragraph types are here, all the node types are here, all the media types are here. I'm guessing there's all taxonomy terms somewhere. Yeah, all taxonomy terms are down here. So the one we're looking for is all node LocalGov news article, this one here. And if we say go for a search, it will now pull back the node, the ID, and the Drupal internal ID. And we can get more things than that if we want. So if we want to say also give us the title, it's probably a bit easier for us to read when we have a title here instead. So this is the news post number 1, news post number 2, and so on. Then we can get the LocalGov news date, and we can get whatever else we want to get, really, I suppose. So the date, and let's say the date will become from, not from, there will be difference. Yeah, I'm gonna stop. There was something cool there where we can set in that I say 2 days ago and 3 days ago for when it was posted rather than the actual date. But that doesn't matter to us just now. So that's when it queries all LocalGov news articles. So it's after getting all of these things here. If we said we didn't want to query, and that's for our initial query on our what's this one here on Gatsby Node, where it goes through all of them, and for every one of them, then for each of them it creates a page. On the news page itself, then it doesn't go through all. There's no all here. It just goes through node LocalGov news article. So if we go to node LocalGov news article down here, this will give us a sample of one news article. So let's get these ones out of here. And we put the title in. So the sample this is giving us is the one that says this is a news post number 1. And as far as I know, that's just the first node it finds of that type. But what we can do then is to see what we're going to get here is we can filter it with the Drupal internal ID equals this ID here. So let's get the Drupal internal ID, what am I going to say here, filter. These purple ones are the filter ones. So we're going to filter by Drupal internal ID equals, and what is the ID of some of these? This is a different one here. This is a test news post, a really important one, and this is Drupal internal node ID of 77. So over here we've got this here. Let's get the Drupal internal ID showing as well. And this is null at the moment because 10 doesn't equate to any news post. So if we go with 77, here we go. So now we got the other one. This is a news post number 2. This is a really important one. So this is the query here that gets run, and this ID here is passed in via context to create the pages. So if we, so that's, we'll say here. Now, all you see here is a H1 that says news item template. So the actual news content isn't coming in here yet. We'll see that now when we come to our, so here's our home page, and it just says welcome to our website. If I go to a 404 page, it will give me a list of what pages have actually been created. So we've got a 404 page here, and 7 pages have been created. And we can see that there's one got news/2021. So this is the alias we saw. Do you remember earlier on when we were looking at here, path.alias here? So it's created a news post for us to use at this alias for post 1, post 2. Post 2 is not promoted and things like that. So if we click on any of these, we should see our news template. We do, news item template. That's what we see from back here. And no news content yet. And that will be the same for every one of these. Okay. So with that being the case, I think we're kind of ready to go in terms of creating news posts. So let's have a look at what we get here. So we've got we've got data here. Let's see if we put in console.log data. I just want to see what comes back for us here. And this probably needs to be on a news post, does it? Okay, so we get this object here with the ID of the object and the title of the object. So if we, let's say, pop in here, I need one of these, this isn't weak. Data dot title. Let's see, do we get it? Because we're grabbing the title here in our GraphQL query. We come over here. Okay, well, we're missing the header. Why do I not have the title here now? Object node LocalGov news article object ID title. Console.log single news page. Let me have a quick look actually at just another repo here. Not much point in wasting time trying to figure it out when we can find it somewhere else. Let's see. So news in a news template is here. There's a news listing page. Oh yeah. It's always simple, isn't it? Data dot node LocalGov news article dot title. I think that's what we need to get here. Yeah. So this is a test news post number 1. Now there's a slight bit of layout you can see here. I've actually got what do we call it? Style components installed, and I've created somewhere components styles .global styles. There's a couple of classes for what I call layout contain, just to put something at a max width and I'm not sure that okay, and margin auto and things like that, just to have very basic layout for ourselves. So that's why that slotted into place. Now that is the title in there. Let's also get the body in here as well. So we've got title in the GraphQL query. We need to get let's see, we need to get body, and then we need to get the value of the body. So that's that one there, I think. Yep. So let's put in body value for GraphQL, and then here we're going to get here we need to use well, let's just put in a div for now, and data dot node dot body dot value. I'm not sure if this will exactly work. Let's just have a quick check. It does, yeah. Okay, so this works, but we end up getting all these p tags and UL tags and strong tags. I need tags because it's just giving us the raw value here. So what we need to do with this is get the use a React component called dangerously set inner HTML. And when we dangerously set inner HTML, it's called dangerously set because you can't trust the people who are giving you the information. So don't use this unless you do trust them. In Drupal terms, we know it gets sanitized on the way in or the way out with the formatters and things. But this is not to be used unless you trust the data that's coming in. So here instead we're going to have a div. What do we do here? Div, and then it's going to be dangerously set in HTML equals these two things here. I think we don't need a div at the end of this because this will self-close, and we will need this. Oh, we've got 3 of them here now. Let's see now. Danger set inner HTML, and then the HTML will equal that, I think. Let's click save here for a second. I like that. You can see there's a red line, so there's something wrong with our formatting. And click save. Thanks, Best Boss. This auto formats for us. Now we've got the same content except the p tags are gone, and it's actually created paragraphs for us instead. So that's our news post. So that's one news post. What's that called? News post number 1. Let's have a quick check at our other ones. If we look for this one here, we haven't clicked on yet, and there we go. So that's our news post. Now how it looks, it doesn't really matter. That's just HTML and CSS. We can fix up that easily. So let's say then we wanted to have a news listing page. So to create a page in Gatsby, all you've got to do is inside a page directory, I'm going to close this templates here so we can see that a bit better. Inside a page directory, you create a new page. So this one here is index.js. Let's call this, we call this news.js, and index page can become news page. Import. That should probably be imported first, React before Gatsby. Then our layout component. Can skip a line here for that. Okay, so now we should have a news listing page if I go to /news. And it do, it says welcome to our website. And let's change this to welcome to our news page. Okay. You can do a news page. Now for this one here, what we need to do is grab all of the news posts. So all, let's see, put this back to the beginning. All node news, where is that? All node news article, edges, node, and here we want to get the, what do we want to get here? We want to get the title, the path, alias, and maybe that's enough for now, is it? Yeah, we just link the title to this. Okay. So now I want to get the code exporter, and I want to get a page query for this. So this is going to be export cons query GraphQL. I get this much here. GraphQL is very handy the way it gives us what the query is going to be. So we put that down here. Constant. So it's going to be news page query. All LocalGov news export default component. Yeah, that's okay. That's already export default function up here. News page. Okay, and then we need to say that this can take a prop of data and const news posts equals data dot edges, I think. Let's console dot log news posts just to see what we get for that. So back here /news undefined. Okay, so let's console.log data. Oh, I did it again. Data, that should be data dot edges. Okay, so if I change this here to news posts like that, then we can have data dot news posts dot edges, and then we can log news posts, I think. Okay, and this gives us 4 items and what each of them are. So now that we have our news posts here, now we can return this. So what I want to do now is return let me see, on the news listing page I want to return layout, it's down here. So here, news posts map. So I want to map each of those to a new news post. Sorry, news post map each of those news posts. So I'm just gonna have a quick check here what I'm doing at the same time. Oh yeah, news post, and that will become a function which will return. Will return. Let's for now pop in a h2 with a news post dot title. I think that will work. Thought the other things were going to work too. No, what am I missing? Each child should have a unique key prop. Okay, so I'm going to put in a UL here, an unordered list. This will be our listing of news items. And then for each of these, I want this to return. I need a fragment here, I think, so that React doesn't give out, because what it returns must come in all inside one element. So that's handy for that. So return, an li and key for this will equal, must have a unique key. What is our unique key? Well, we've got our Drupal internal ID, don't we? So let's put that into our GraphQL Drupal internal node ID. So the key here will be there. So key equals news post dot Drupal internal node ID. Okay, let's have a look at this one. Okay, we've at least got 4 bullet points. Each should have a unique key property. It has that. What are we missing now? So we are missing I've done the exact same thing again. News post dot node down here. So we've only gone as far as edges in this part here of it. So news post dot node dot title. Now we should be in business. There we go. So there's our 4 news posts. Now we need to link these to those pages themselves. So I'm going to use the Gatsby link package or plugin. So that should add itself. It hasn't. Okay, why didn't it? There we go. So when I click enter here now, you'll see at the top of the screen up here, it should add itself. So there we go. So it's important GraphQL and link from Gatsby. So link is pretty handy because it means that it then knows it's an internal link, so the page doesn't need to refresh, and it means if you hover over it, it will start refresh or start getting that next piece of data for you in the background. So it should load very, very fast. So this instead of an A tag, if it's an A tag, it will refresh the page for us. So we're going to link, and what we're going to link to is link to news post dot node. Don't forget it this time. Dot path dot alias. And we save that and come back to here. So now these are all links, and if I click on them, it brings us to our news post. So there you go. That's, I know it's very ugly and very proof of concept-y, but that is how we create decoupled websites from a LocalGov Drupal installation. So now we can decouple our news and give it whatever style we want, and then we can decouple our events if we want and give them whatever style we want, or we can decouple our services, for example, or if there's amenities in the area, if there's a castle, or if there's a park, or if there's something else. That's pretty simple then for us to decouple each of those. Let's see if there's any questions.